September the 5th, 2021. Guys, you're looking at satellite images this morning as the sun rises over the Gulf of Mexico. And the system that we've been watching that started to, or tried to form down in the Caribbean and slowly made its way up into the Yucatan Peninsula, is it projected to reemerge into the Bay of Campeche in the southern Gulf of Mexico today, still has a 30% chance of development. And it's projected to move again northward somewhere along southern Louisiana and over towards Florida as far as where it may come ashore. Probably won't be a hurricane, but right now there's still over 700,000 people without power along the Louisiana coast. And gasoline is in short supply. There's lines no matter where you go, waiting hours. Many stores are closed, guys. Gas stations are closed because they just have run out. And when you do find it, they're saying it's hours of sitting there. People are taking containers and gas tanks and coming up into Mississippi and returning back to Louisiana with some gas to run some of the generators, both commercial and relief and individual generators. So it's a bad situation. We saw it with Katrina. It's been a week now, and they're having to move people into cooling zones. The ones in New Orleans are full, and they're actually busing people further north into Louisiana and over into Texas in some areas, just, again, for the cooling centers. Water is being handed out by military there. Looks like National Guard in some of the images I saw. And you got your FEMA is involved. MEMA in Mississippi is involved in southern Mississippi. The reports out of New Orleans is saying that there's a major problem with trash collection right now, and the generators and that handle the pumps, guys, the sewage and things like that have become a major problem there. So our hearts go out to you all the way from New Orleans, South Mississippi, through southern Louisiana that was hit the hardest. Again, places like Grand Isle were really hit hard. In some areas, all of the telephone poles or light poles are down, cracked and busted. And then your high transmission lines are still down. So they're talking about maybe by the end of the month having some electricity in certain places. A lot longer than the original estimate of 2 weeks. And I knew there was no way they were going to handle all of those tall towers with transmission lines that actually go across rivers and things like that. As big as they are, once they come down, you don't put them back up in 2 weeks, not 2,000 miles of them. So again, shout out to you guys down there. Hope help get your way very quickly. And this is the 8 p.m. update from this morning, just about 59 minutes ago. And you've got a 30% chance of this thing developing. It's disorganized showers and thunderstorms over portions of Central America and the Yucatan are associated with a surface trough and an upper-level disturbance. Locally heavy rains are likely to continue today over that area. The system is forecast to move northwestward over the southwestern Gulf of Mexico later today, then move slowly northward or northwest eastward over the western or central Gulf of Mexico. Upper-level winds are only expected to be marginally conducive for a tropical cyclone formation. But if you remember in the reports in the last few days, they were talking about it would be very hard for it to develop at first. So these winds, because now they're saying marginally, they are letting up some, these upper-level wind shears. They again, they're expected to be marginally conducive for tropical cyclone formation, but some slow development is possible with the system while it moves across the Gulf of Mexico through the middle of this week. So again, you can see from Louisiana over to the Florida Panhandle, some of the areas that could be affected. Now you got a Cat 3 hurricane in the Atlantic, Larry, 120 mile per hour sustained winds, and pressure is 958 millibars. It is moving northwest at 14 miles an hour. It's still expected to curve and glance Bermuda and move north of there up towards St. John's area as a powerful storm. Let's take a look at that. Now, this is the wide Atlantic view. And before I forget, South Louisiana, you're under a heat warning today also. And you've had temps 103, 104 heat index. Guys, that is really tough to handle with no electricity, no fans, no air conditioning, anything. People are sitting outside at night trying to cool off, just wishing they could sleep. I read some reports from folks there. But here's Larry, very well defined Cat 3 hurricane right now. It looks like the center may be going through a recycling right now, but you could see overnight how well defined it is. Now let's look at some of the models. Now, one of the good things that I see about this, you got a Cat 3, and it was projected to become a Cat 4, but now they're holding it down to around 120, 125 miles per hour, and remain a Cat 3 as it passes Bermuda. Now, this track has changed. The center of it was pretty much dead over Bermuda, which is this black dot right there. So everything's moving east in the projections. That's good for both the U.S. and Bermuda, because Bermuda does get hit, and this is the month when they usually do it. If you look back over the last few years, they have had their crops decimated this time of the year because of storms. So it has its impacts, even though it doesn't hit the U.S. Now, north of there, Newfoundland and in that area going up into the Labrador Sea could be a different story. Now, 5 minutes ago, this update came out at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The models are coming closer together, and they're moving away from Bermuda as far as center. Now, it's a big storm. And even the Navy model, which is right there, had this... it had the path to the left of Bermuda, or to the west, but now it's moved over, but it is showing impact in St. John's. The CMC model, Canadian, is showing it missing. Now, both Bermuda and St. John's, you could get a lashing from the east side of the storm, or if the Navy model holds up, you're going to get a direct impact with a Cat 2 hurricane, so be prepared for that. Now, first, this is a Navy model. Again, it just misses as far as the center of circulation. Bermuda, you're going to get some outgoing gust and some weather here right there around the 10th of September. And then it comes into St. John's, crosses the Labrador Sea right here. Watch this. That's around the 12th, moves into the North Atlantic. The Canadian model is similar, but it, again, shows less land impact. Now, the Canadian model is very similar. It's just a little further east. There's Bermuda right there, and then it barely scrapes the side of St. John's in that area. And there's another system right behind it. You notice as this comes up. There again around the 10th here, and then a system pulls off right there and follows just another small low pressure system. And by this chance, by this time, a completely different system is showing in the models, coming actually from the Pacific across the Mexican peninsula right here into the Gulf of Mexico. It's just telling us that we're still in an active season, 5 days from the peak. Guys, we're watching it, and we're going to watch the satellites in the Gulf of Mexico throughout the day to see what this thing does as it reemerges. It's a heads up. Be safe.